We're good.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 19th meeting of the Harwich Council on Aging Board of Directors. And we'll call the meeting to order. Our first order of business, as usual, is to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
So moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Sheila. Any changes, alterations, questions about the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Aye. And opposed, say nay. Well, Pat had voted. We have one person here who's part of our friends group who's with us today. We open this to public comment, and this would be an appropriate time if you have anything, Bob?
Well, thank you. I was thinking maybe this is the appropriate time.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Bob Hamilton. I'm president of the Friends of the Harwich Council on Aging Board of Directors. At our last couple of meetings, one of the things that has been brought up by our board members is the lack of space in for the Council on Aging. And as you know, we have an ongoing needs assessment or a needs assessment in process that will be coming through, but we talked about it a little bit. We threw out some ideas and things, but we thought the best thing to do would be wait until the results of that needs assessment comes back so we have a comprehensive approach. But we thought it would be appropriate to bring it up to you folks, just so you know that that's in our mind and we're thinking about it.
Great, thank you. Are you meeting today?
We met last Wednesday.
And as you know, our director normally goes to the Friends meetings and works very closely, with Bob and the Friends group. Is there anything else that we can do with you, Bob, for your group to assist in any way?
Not right now. As I say, I think as you may know, we've gotten several new members on our board, so we're up to 8 members on the board for the Friends. And I think that's a good number, and I think our last member just joined us in January, so I think we're going to be sort of doing that forming stage now where we get to know each other and everything, and we'll be in good shape when the needs assessment comes back. And as everybody develops ideas, we'll be back and talking about that, I think.
Great, thank you. Thank you for all you do for the Council on Aging. And to those watching, we need to do this from time to time to explain the difference of the 3 different arms of Council on Aging. You have, as we are, the Council on Aging Board of Directors. We have, as we have staff here today, we have the department of the Harwich Council on Aging, and we have the advocacy group, the Friends of the Harwich Council on Aging. So we say COA a lot, and sometimes those terms get crossed and people don't know what group are we talking about. And we'll hear a little bit later today from staff, and we'll hear from Julie through her report that she sent in to me. But it's important to note that, and that the advocacy group, the Friends of the Council on Aging, has been around for a long time, and they do far more than people realize for the Council on Aging, and more so for the community of Harwich. So we thank Bob as president of the Friends for being so good to us.
Do any of the board members ever go to the Friends meetings, or is that not?
We used to have a representative, and Julie has been going as director.
Okay.
So Julie's there every month. Mm-hmm. You could talk to Bob while he's here, if you want to have another member. We do have a member of the Council on Aging on the Facilities Committee that is chaired by our member, Angie Chalaka. So we do have crosswork with other other committees here in town. Yeah. Up to you.
It's an open meeting. Our
okay, I just wasn't sure how it. Yeah,
we'd be happy to have you participate or have a member. I don't want to pick on you, but if someone wanted to come, it would be great. We meet the Wednesday before the COA board meets, so 10 o'clock here in the community center on the second Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
And if that's an interest, there's always a position open.
Smile.
Anyway, just a couple of comments from me. We know we have, as Bob mentioned, the ongoing needs assessment occurring this year, being conducted by the University of Massachusetts at Boston. And I was interviewed by them last month, and it was with 2 members. It was almost an hour interview, and they really delved deeply into the workings of the Council on Aging, our role as a council, the Friends role. and what we're doing for this community. And as we talked, it made me realize that we're very active, Council on Aging. You know, we do a lot, and sometimes more so. And there was a discussion last night at the Select Board meeting that the Board of Health is looking for some folks in social services to pick up some of the slack that we don't deal with because we're dealing with seniors, their families, and their caregivers. Whereas they're looking for people a bit younger than 60. And so what we do can transfer to other demographics in this community, and I think that's what the Board of Health is looking for. But the group from UMass Boston, they had excellent questions. They had an observer sit in on the meeting to see what we were doing, so I'm very impressed with what they've done so far. I'll be very, very anxious to see their report on what our needs are and how we can expand. And we're gonna have a little bit, an opportunity a little bit later in the meeting to hear from our senior program specialist who will see from the inside what we're doing and what opportunities can arise for our organization.
And when are we expected to get the data again? I missed that.
That's a year-long program. It's gotta be the end of this year.
Okay, all right.
So it's extensive. Do you have any update on that from, no. It's ongoing.
When you say year-long, you mean like May, June, I think.
Could be. Again, they've been working on it. We met last year, an initial meeting. They're doing stakeholder meetings and interviews. Has anyone else been interviewed from the board? Okay. We're gonna follow up next month with Julie and exactly where they stand and when we can anticipate some initial data from them. Okay. Anything else on that? And if not, Julie could not be with us this morning, so her director's report, I'll read it to you. We have consistently been expanding our program offerings for the past few years, thanks to our program specialist, Jen Anderson. The range and quantity of programs has really grown over the past 6 to 9 months. In the upcoming March-April newsletter, we have over 20 special one-time programs scheduled. Those are in addition to our regular recurring programs, such as the breakfast, ukulele lessons, movie days, etc. We'd like to invite everyone to our St. Patrick's Day luncheon on March 12th, where Chef Linda will be serving the traditional Irish meal of corned beef and cabbage, and the Cape Cod Ukulele Club will be playing everyone's favorite Irish tunes. Sheila will be singing with them, so I really invite you to come. We're taking registration for this event on March 3rd. Check out our newsletter for details on how to sign up. Volunteer needs an update, and this is important, you know, and we're constantly recruiting for new volunteers. Medical drivers is important, and we still need it, and John has been doing it for many, many years. He can tell us just how wonderful it is being a part of that program. We're also looking for some additional people with our tech support program, which provides residents with assistance for simple phone, tablet, and laptop questions or issues. The volunteer luncheon is scheduled for Thursday, April 10th. Put that on your calendar, please. The exact time is to be determined, but we're tentatively planning for a noontime start. We will compare menus and costs of the Harwich restaurants that have had enough space for our guests. And finally, on the needs assessment update, UMass has conducted key informant interviews with 5 stakeholders we identified in December. Town nurse Sue Drusell, Harwich fire captain, protective service worker at Elder Services, our town's housing advocate, and myself. These 1-hour interviews were fairly in-depth. They were very in-depth, where respondents were able to share their opinions about the strengths and challenges of serving older adults in Harwich. I was also sent a draft of the section of the report that will describe the COA and its operations. I have offered some suggestions and revisions for the draft and returned it to UMass. I'm going to stop there for a second. That might be at least an interesting piece for us to take a look at from the interim draft to see if there's anything that we would want to add to that. Any thoughts about that? Or should we just let Julie take care of that for us?
I kind of think it's her call. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
The next step in the needs and assessment is to conduct focus groups with residents and community stakeholders. In March, UMass will work with us to schedule 3 focus groups, 2 for residents, 1 for service providers that work with older adults in Harwich. Each group will include 8 to 12 people and is estimated to take 90 minutes. We intend to recruit a diverse group of residents who represent the full array of perspectives on living in Harwich, including both older and younger seniors, and those who have lived here their entire lives, and those who have retired here in the past few years. Most of the focus group participants will likely be familiar with the COA and what we have to offer. But we're also going to strive to reach out to people who do not use our programs and services to the best of our ability. For example, I have conducted with Resident Services Coordinator at Pine Oaks and a member of the Harwich Council on Churches, and they're going to help me recruit people who do not currently attend the COA. This is a great opportunity for us. If you do know of someone who either does not use, chooses not to use our services, or is unaware of our services, I find that difficult because you guys are such great advocates. But if you know of anybody, it's a great opportunity to submit those names to Julie to get them on the list. And I know, and Carol was a realtor for many, many years, a lot of our newcomers are not familiar. And not everybody shows them this particular building and the services offered. I had a new family move in December. They're already members of the gym and they're having a wonderful time. They had no idea prior to moving to Harwich and speaking to us that this existed. So if there are folks out there who have no idea the work we do in this building in general. In the background, while the focus groups are being organized and conducted, UMass will continue working to analyze the data that was collected in the surveys that went out in the fall. We ended up having a very good response rate to the survey. A total of 1,772 surveys were returned, which yielded a response rate of 25.3%, exceeding our target of 20. This was a slightly higher rate of return than a neighboring town saw in their needs assessment 2 years ago, so I feel very positive about that rate. And that is the end of Julie's report. Any questions we want to bring back to Julie relative to that? Comments?
No.
The needs assessment, I think, is a great tool for us to utilize. And one of the things I think it's important that we know too, is that the staff have some interaction with the needs assessment. You know, you guys are doing this every day. You know, you're dealing with our citizens, the users of the Council on Aging, and it'd be great to have some of your perspective as well. Do we have any new business to come before us today? And if not, I would like to introduce, if you haven't met before, Jen Anderson, who is our Senior Program Specialist. And Jen, many of the things that you see in that newsletter fall in Jen's lap. And she has been providing tremendous programs for us for many, many years. So I want to have Jen give us an update on what programs are occurring, but I'd also like to share her perspective of what it's like being on the ground, working with people day to day, and some of the things that she may see for our Council on Aging that we could expand upon. Jen.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Yes, I mean, ever since the newsletter got expanded in the fall and having 4 more pages, it's become, quite a bit more involved, and hopefully you've been able to throw your eyes on those programs. I would love to hear if you feel that we're offering what people want and need, and I am excited to hear about the needs assessment survey because of that. That will hopefully give us some direction and some guiding documents as to how we make our planning going forward, right? A lot of these ideas come through us from other people. A lot of these ideas just come from ourselves, but you don't quite know if you're maybe on the right path. We obviously get things fairly well attended, but we do have a very repetitive group. It's the same, a smaller group of people who are very active, but knowing that there are so many other people in town who aren't. And so be able to hopefully expand that outreach, again, once that needs assessment survey comes out. I mean, I've spoken with Julie about how we do that and how we can get more to reach more of the town. And because there's so much here, and so almost to the extent of how does one person really can't take it all in a month with everything that we have going on here. So when you see these things, we get feedback from the people who attend, but if you're throwing your eyes on this and liking what you see or don't like what you see, that's what we need to know too. So We are mostly through the month, right? They go faster than slower. And so, but we had a great program this week called When is the Right Time to Move to Senior Living? It was practically a standing room only
Yeah, really.
program, and people were raving about it after. So we're really great to partner with those folks. And then we still have a few more to go. So on the 20th, the Wabi Sabi dancers are coming. Don't know if you're familiar with them. They usually perform movement pieces at a church in Brewster, but they are of age 69 to 85.
Wow.
And they will be performing here on the 20th. We have partnered with the community center on that, put that on, so you'll see that coming to the community center as well. The 25th, we've been doing our outings twice a month, and on the 25th, we'll be going to Centerville Historical Museum, so we'll venture out that way, and then stop in Yarmouth for lunch on the way back. And on the 27th, we have the Candlestick in the library, so we have an author coming. She's going to bring some mystery writing to life. We're going to kind of become a little Agatha Christie for an hour and a half or so, and hopefully walk away with your own little whodunit story. And so we're hoping that people will be coming out for that. And some of the recurring things, like Richard said, the women's breakfast is still on tap here for the end of the month on the 28th. We have our movies days on the third Fridays of the month. That will be the 21st. Our craft workshops at the end of the month as well. And so, as Julie said in her report, I mean, we have an extensive amount of special programs a month, but we do also have an extensive amount of recurring. And so there's a lot to be had here. And the more we've been partnering with the community center, it's been able to help expand our reach, and that's been really great. They're reaching a different demographic of people, right, than we are, and we help them as well. So that's been fun to do. And just to mention a couple things that are early in March, because those will happen before you meet again. We have the future planning toolbox coming on March 5th. So the Oasis senior advisors are coming. They're going to be providing lunch. It's a lunchtime, like lunch and learn. And we will have a little bit of a panel discussion. So home care, real estate, elder law, senior advisory services, and time for Q&A. So we're excited to be able to offer that. And as Julie mentioned as well, on the 12th of March is our St. Patrick's Day luncheon. So that will be a full dine-in lunch for up to 50 people, and registration is required for that as well. So that's a quick brief into March. Hopefully you'll be receiving that newsletter in the next week or so. We'd love to hear your feedback on that. And then I do have been putting together kind of this monthly one-pager to highlight most of the special programs that we do. So those are posted in here. They're on our website. I put them on Facebook. And then I try to make individual flyers for each event to highlight those as well and share those on Facebook and events. So hopefully you're following us on Facebook at Harwich COA. And please share these events as you see them. You're reaching a whole bunch of other networks and all the communities that you're involved in than we are, and helping to get that word out and what we do, because we're trying to break the stigma of what people feel is happening at a senior center or a council on aging, because these programs are really, a majority of them are applicable to people who aren't, right? So please help spread the word. So yeah, make sure you follow us on Facebook. I don't know if you've visited the website at all, or in a while, harwichcoa.com. We are able to get our custom website, right? So it goes right to the town page. And I update that as well. And so there's a slideshow with the flyers going on there. This is on the landing page. Obviously the newsletters are there, but making sure that other people are throwing their eyes on there, and what we could be adding for people to be looking for is the stuff that, and any other marketing ideas. We try to reach out to the paper. We try to send things to Cape Media. We do the update COA with Dinah here, that they run on the Harwich channel. But those avenues of how we reach other people, will be welcome to hear. So thank you for letting me do what I do.
The Wabi Sabi dancers, what kind of dance is it?
I know it's movement. I know it's movement pieces.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how it looks in real life, but one of I don't know if you attended the community center talent show.
No, I
made a
wasn't
month
here.
ago, but one of them was there. She sang, but she'll be dancing here when she comes this week. So everyone is so multi-involved here. It's really great to see that activity. So
I just popped into harwichcoa.com and jumped right to the page, which is great, and it's got the information on there. It's got that flyer on there. It's got our Facebook and our YouTube access, which is great. So something, if you are on social media anywhere, pop it out, promote it, howardcoa.com. Jen, one of the questions I had, you see all the programs, everything eventually crosses your desk. And we do have a core, of people, and I understand that. I've got a younger brother who is in assisted living, and he lives by his calendar newsletter. Every day, he's got big circles of things. I want to do this. I want to do this. He'll cross out things. I don't like that. But I can understand how certain people in our community, they're isolated. This is their identity coming here. Are there areas that we're not addressing that we need to address in your mind?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because and so it'd be so great to hear from that needs assessment.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, I was pushing one of the push carts to help load up a truck, and it said COA, it says COA on it, and someone said, "What's that stand for?" And I said, "Well, it's the Council on Aging." He goes, "Oh, I'm not old enough for that. I'm only 80. So it's just the awareness, right? You're saying even of the community center, and two, how to reach the people who might not feel the senior center is for them, right? You speak with Jill, the trainer here, and she'll, is it wrong that I want to sign up for some of these programs? I said, not at all, that's the point, they're open to anyway. People, we don't want to feel like you have to be of a certain age to attend these programs, right? They really
Actually, that's a great point. Let me stop you right there. So you don't have to be a senior to attend one of these events.
Well, we're saying to be a member of a senior center, there are going to be some things that are applicable to other seniors. I think there are topics that are applicable to more people. So I don't think we're turning people away just because they're, we're not age discriminating you at all. I'd rather see people becoming and joining it and getting in the information.
I think there are only 2 in this room that may not qualify, but that's, I don't mean to speak for
I
everybody.
don't feel that far off.
Speak for me.
I'm 39.
And you look marvelous.
No, I think being inside the community center is really helpful, and you see the overlap of what we do with the other departments, with the staff engagement, the generational programming that and people aren't just seeing just seniors or right, you're seeing a whole different dynamic of people here. And so I think there's been conversations in the past, and it may be coming again, the idea that other towns have gone to, well, there's a director of community services or resources, and they are creating that division with the branch with COA and recreation under it, and that's to help unify those offerings and put the programming together and hopefully rebrand that idea that you're part of a community center or a center for active living and not necessarily attending, right, the senior center. You're coming to the community center, and there's always great programs under that umbrella.
Sheila, you had a comment on that.
Well, I just wondered if they've ever thought about changing the name, because when Chatham changed theirs to the Center for Active Living, which I think a few other towns on the Cape, it's not just Chatham, they got a lot more people. So there was a lot, there's primarily seniors, but there were a lot more people that came in, and there were people that, like you said, felt like, oh, senior center, it's like old people. There a lot of people came in more. So, and I like the name. I don't know, Center for Active Living, but it might be a discussion we should have in the future.
Yeah, we think I think we've spoke of this before.
Oh, okay, I figured. Yeah.
No, and
it's.
I think that someone's working on something for that, and one of the things that people don't understand is when Jen is doing programs with staff here, she doesn't control space.
Right.
Anything that happens, Jen, would you explain what happens if you want to put on a program, how you've got to book a room, et cetera, et cetera? It's not like, oh, I've got all these rooms that I can work with whenever I want.
Yeah, sometimes you forget and you assume there's going to be a space if you book something later along the line, and there's not, right? We just submitted now, or will be in the next couple of days, we submit town departments now for the whole next July to June schedule. So we lay out all of our recurring program schedule. We put those in and try to reserve those rooms. And Carolyn, the community center, is very good with that, about trying to accommodate town departments first with our recurring. And then with all these special programs that we come up on a bi-monthly basis, those aren't part of the regular plan. So when we lay those out, we're coming back to them with 20 more requests in 2 months when things are booked out much further than that. So I would love to be able to see us produce a newsletter a little bit further out or including more months. Where I was before, we were doing it twice a year. We're doing it in 6 months. Now that would be a heck of a lot of programs to put in one, right? With the way we're operating our newsletter. But for planning purposes and building use purposes, I mean, that's gonna help everybody. So I'm internally planning longer than that. So once I get things on the books, then I'm submitting those for requests. But they do everything they can to get us in there. But there's gonna be, 1 or 2 bumps along the way that they can't. That's just the way it goes.
So the relationship between the community center staff and the Council on Aging staff has to be strong so that you can work together to get these things done.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, someone comes in, hey, I've got a great idea, I want to do this. Well, great, it's not, you can't just say, oh yeah, we'll use this room next week. You have to go through a process to get that done. And it's not quick and it's not easy. And when you look at the breadth of the programming in any of these newsletters, it's substantial planning that has to go into getting that done. Anything else that you see from your perspective inside as a senior program specialist of?
Oh, well, I think we're just getting our handle on the expanding this newsletter, like I said, and so I think it gets a little heavy here at times, with the amount of text and how we can break that up. And I have a recreation background, so I'm looking to add a little more. We want the educational, we want the informational that's going to be there for people. I brought in like the walking club. We'll do a Kentucky Derby party, those sorts of things. Julie suggested a murder mystery back in December. We did that. That was fun. So bringing those parts of it too. So there's the social engagement and recreation and part of side of things.
With your talk about planning and pushing out, we're doing bi-monthly newsletters. From your perspective, would quarterly be too much information to put out at once?
That's what I've been debating. I was thinking maybe, like whether it was, the 3 months, but a lot of our programming goes on like a 6-week cycle. So what that 3 or 4 month newsletter looks like. I was trying to lay out some of those dates. I was thinking maybe even how we reduce kind of the things that recur all the time. You look at other towns' newsletters, and there's a more general listing of that. You could almost say, here are special programs, and then here's this whatever page insert of our regular, or vice versa. Here's everything that we do all the time. Does it need to go to print every single time? It's stuff that we're offering all the time, right? And then what we're adding for special programming. Yeah.
One positive thing I would say, I think you really updated that, which is great, is you've made it very colorful, lively. And that's important because with older things, sometimes it's drab, blah.
Yeah,
but
that was one of
it's
Julie's
nice
goals,
that
to get to color, and so that opened up
because
more opportunities.
it compares with the community centers newsletters that are very, very vibrant, and so I think all that's important, because then people feel, you feel more alive, you feel,
Yeah, so we keep kind of tweaking
especially when you have topics,
want to look,
moving to senior living. I mean, that's depressing.
Yeah,
But
right.
but it's nice when you,
Yeah.
But sure, that's a great point. That's maybe something we want to take on this year.
Yeah.
Is looking at the newsletter and making some adjustments, some changes that will better serve the residents. I love the idea of the color. That's great. And it's making it vibrant, and what do people look for in it?
Well, like you're saying, that sort of, this becomes their, all right, and they come in and then they sort of, I think Julie's goal was to include that monthly calendar in it.
Yeah.
So we produced that and posted on the website, and that gets emailed to people, but it's not being printed. That was part of the change, I think, her goal, and then the number of pages had to be switched up. But you see a lot of towns putting in that 1 month calendar, which I think is a better visual at times for people.
And I think, moving down the line, the select board last night was meeting with finance and going over the budget. And anything that happens new is called an enhancement of services. And that's under a microscope. And the budgets are getting tight, and the board and the finance committee are sharpening their pencils. And I think we need to look at areas that we can get the work done that we need to do in a way that we're not coming for substantial enhancement of services. Once we get that needs analysis as well, there may be some enhancement of services that we need. So we need to keep all of that in mind, because it's great to have the ideas, but we have to find a way to finance anything that we're doing. And while we're so grateful to the Friends of the Council on Aging, they are not part of our budget process. And we cannot rely on them to do things that should be in our yearly budget. So maybe look at that topic this year of dissecting the newsletter and seeing what we can do to better meet the needs of our residents. Thank you. Anything else you want to share with us?
No.
Well, thank you for being here. Any questions of?
Just one quick question. The March 5th, what was that?
The future planning toolbox, that's at 12.
Who's doing that one?
Oasis Senior Advisors.
Is the murder mystery thing scheduled yet?
Yes, that's the February 27th, 10 o'clock. Make sure you call us, sign up.
2/27.
I'm signed up for that.
You
one.
are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can walk right in and sign up when you're done
Okay.
today. Because I'm
That's
sure
a
all of
good-
you went in
what
anyway
day
to
is it?
register
27th is what day is that?
that you were here.
They
for
did,
that.
I saw, everyone
Did they?
checked in
Good.
for their volunteering,
good.
yes.
Any other questions of Jen? And
That's
Jen,
okay.
thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Put it in my calendar.
And Lauren, we're always happy to have you with us every month. And Jen, Lauren, anything from you?
No.
Okay, great. All right, anyone else have any new business? Bob, anything else from friends? No. Okay. Let's go around the table. Carol, anything?
Public comment?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome.
Thank you.
Join us. Come up here.
Well, I don't want to
Come up
interrupt. Is
here.
this the right appropriate
So much
time?
going on. It's like,
No, please, please. Do this
I'm
for-
sorry.
Do this for 11.
I didn't notice you. It was so quiet.
If my parents were alive to hear that, they would never believe it.
So quiet.
Thank you for the opportunity to sneak in. I do have a key, so you couldn't keep me out. Carolyn Carey, Community Center Director, and I wanted to come for a few reasons, if nobody minds. First and foremost, the community center is 25.
I know.
And a big part of that is because of the collaboration and communication that has happened, not now, but 25 years ago. And I wanted to especially come to this meeting because I wanted to publicly thank Carol for loaning us Sheldon, who had been ginormous in walking us through every bolt, every wall, every structure. He and Jill Mason had really showcased this building.
They did a beautiful
So
job.
although there are a million people to thank, all of you included, I would not have felt right if I publicly did not thank him.
Thank you. And I'd have to mention Bailey Rose.
I was just
I
gonna
was-
say.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can't
I
forget
didn't-
Bailey Rose.
Can't go on without Bailey Rose.
No, absolutely not.
So can we explain for those who were newer, when this process was being done, Sheldon Thayer, who is on the Wall of Fame here at the community center, and his trusted companion, their Labrador,
Yes.
Bailey Rose, used to do weekly video updates with you and going through the building and the whole
Walking through the
process.
building.
Walking through the building, yeah.
So that you could
That
actually
worked
watch the building being built.
Yeah.
And if you ever get an opportunity, they do show every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see
Yeah.
if you watch where we came from to where we are now. So that being said, where we came from and where we are now, not gonna lie, we are growing and expanding at every turn.
Oh, true.
But with that, I think it's important that we remember what we are and who we are. We are a community center, which means that we are a multi-generational building. We work together in collaboration, and I loved hearing Jen's report about all of the programming, and I didn't know Jen was gonna be here, so I'm still gonna do it. I really wanted to also thank both Jen and Reagan Wilda, who have really set the precedent of putting together multi-generational programming, working together, enhancing what this building is made to be. So I can't say enough about them. With that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the communication in the building and where we need to go. We're lacking in some areas. I can wear rose-colored glasses, but my job is to make sure that we continue to grow. So we need to be better because we're doing so much more. So I'm gonna work with everyone, and that's why I wanted to come in here. Thanks for talking about our getting the forms out. It does take a small army to get the rooms booked, and we have over 100 clubs and organizations, not to mention how much the Council on Aging and Youth and Recreation are utilizing the building, the community center itself, all of those things. So the more that we can work together, the better off we're doing for our community. And I know that's everyone's mission, certainly sitting around this table. You're all amazing. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I want to get better at that. And I heard what Richard said about the board and what they're looking at. And I take that really serious. And I think that we should maybe combine all of our boards at one point and have an open and honest discussion about where the building is, where we can go, what we can do, looking at the staffs of everything. Can we do better with what we have and do more and provide more quality and quantity of events for everyone and not duplicate some services and not leave anyone out? So I wanted to start the conversation here, and I wanted to thank you all for being such a ginormous part of 25 years. I'm apologizing. I'm in a t-shirt today because it's laser tag day. So come play laser tag.
You look marvelous.
25 events. We have had such success. And Angie Chalaka, running our facilities committee, has
Madam Chair,
Oh, thank you.
been tremendous.
can
So
I interrupt you right there? I was asked, I received a note from Ralph Smith that we have a representative to the facilities committee, and of which, again, Angie is the chair. Ralph has been our representative for many years, loves doing it, but unfortunately he finds it necessary to step back from the facilities committee at this time. And there's gonna be an opportunity for someone from this board to sit on the facilities committee. And if you'd like to think about it, I'd be happy to chat with you and with Carolyn about that. And I love the idea. I would love to do a joint meeting.
thanks.
Love to do a joint meeting with rec, with community center, and with COA and staff. I think that would be, and that's, what we're trying to do is bring in perspective, and having Jen today was an opportunity for us to get some perspective from an employee standpoint. We don't deal with operations per se. We're involved in policy and working with the staff. But to hear that perspective, it allows us as a board to say, what are some of our priorities? You heard about the newsletter. Maybe we can make, and you heard
Maybe
the
one
kudos.
newsletter.
You heard the kudos.
That's why I
yours.
came in.
Okay. But it allows all of us to better serve our community. And I'm in favor. Does the board want to weigh in on any of that? Do you feel
Yeah, I
think it's
having
a
a
great
joint
idea.
meeting
I
would be?
think it's a good idea.
So-
Great idea.
When does the facilities committee meet?
They meet the second Friday of every month at 3:30.
So,
Was that a quiz? No, I'm just kidding.
no, that's great. I didn't know you were here for, I was gonna say, if you didn't hear, Jen was talking about the communication and the cooperation between she and your staff has been very, very good, and I didn't know if you heard that.
I did not hear that, but I
Okay.
appreciate it, and it's truly on them, on certainly led by Jen, who has, we make fun of her when she comes to visit us at the front desk with a stack of piles. We're like, here she is again, everyone get your books ready, because she's doing so much programming. And we do, our goal is always to make sure that we can get as much of the programming in the building for
Well,
everyone.
as
So-
chair of COA, sitting next to the chair of the facilities committee, if we could get the chair of the rec,
You might be able to.
I could speak to him somehow. If we can do a joint meeting, we would need obviously a larger space.
Of course, and I know a girl who can get you that.
Well, so would love to do that, set something up in the next month or so to just sit around, have a round
That
table.
would be great.
Right,
And
and it is
everyone's-
a lot based on policies and procedures too, so I do think it's appropriate to be at this level. Certainly anything other than that, staffing, those kind of things,
Those are-
would go elsewhere, but I think that we should establish some policies and procedures in moving forward and what we can do, because there are no silos in this building, and if there are, it's not going to work. We built it specifically to house all of us, to be a community center, only building in town that has the word community in it. Never lose sight of that, never. It's important, And all of you are in the building so much. You see the people, you hear the people. It's necessary. So
Yeah.
I am very fortunate to have the best job in town, other than all of you, because you get to work here. But so I just really wanted to sneak in, say that there's plenty of work still to do. We should look back at what we have done, take a moment to appreciate all of the people who have been part of it, but really know that we have an obligation to move forward in the best way possible. Sometimes growing pains hurt, but we can get through anything.
But you know what, it's any relationship, it goes ups and downs, but what the reality is how can we better serve the residents of this community? Period, that's it, that's what we're here for.
It's called the solutions-focused model.
Exactly.
Maybe we should.
If you haven't seen, by the way, for anyone who's not seen the Wall of Fame here in the community center, go take a look at Sheldon. Sheldon was a character. I had an opportunity to work with Sheldon for many years, and always had a joke. But he was a great man, and he did tremendous work for this building, and you did too.
Thank
You know,
Absolutely.
it wasn't just
I
Sheldon.
was not shouting.
And we appreciate having you, Carol, with us. All right, if you mind staying right there, we're gonna go around the table as we do every meeting to end up. Carol, do you have anything else for today?
I went to the program yesterday on the senior living, which was great. The only thing that I would suggest might have been a benefit would be to add the facilities that are available on the Cape.
Right.
You know, that a lot of people were sitting there, and I personally don't have any idea of what level of units and what's on the Cape. In other words, she mentioned Thurwood, I know that, but I know there are others as well. And I think it would have been nice to have included a list of what facilities are available.
We did that about 10 years ago, and we should do it again. We invited everyone from the Cape. What is your availability? What are your cost structures?
Yes.
And for those who haven't dealt with it with family, I've got a younger brother in assisted living, I'm his guardian, and we've gone through that.
Yes.
Finding an assisted living, what are the costs, how do we structure it, what does he get for those costs, what additional costs are
Right.
there? It's so important as people are planning.
Yeah.
And that'd be a great idea, Carol.
It was a broad brush yesterday, which was very
Yeah.
good, and I found it very informative. That was the only thing that I thought was lacking. If we could have had a list of facilities that are available, you
Yep,
know.
I'll reach out to Karen.
Yeah,
And we should, consider a program with bringing those people in.
that would be great.
And
That would
having
be great.
each representative 5 minutes say, here's what Liberty, here's what
Right.
Woodlands, here's what Maplewood, here's what Thurwood, all of these different.
Exactly, because she did stress yesterday, and I thought it was very important, and as a council on aging, and was the importance of planning for this while you're not needing it. In other words,
Yep.
planning ahead. In other words, plan all this ahead of time and know what you're doing, because the day could come when, God knows, could happen any minute, where you're not in a position to make decisions about this. So that's why I was there. I've reached an age that
Yeah,
I
someone
need to.
even mentioned to me about taking the van and being able to kind of do some
Road
site
trip.
tours.
Exactly,
Road trip.
exactly,
Right.
that would be very beneficial. Because
So,
that's why I was there. I want to plan, I want to know what my options are ahead of time, not, when I'm sitting in the corner drooling, so.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bob, anything else?
No, nothing else.
Jen?
I had 2 notes. One was to remind everyone, and Carolyn, I don't want to steal your thunder at all because this is your birthday month, pancake breakfast on Saturday.
Thank you.
It's from 8 to 10, and I am volunteering to cook the pancakes.
Whoa!
I am the chef there.
Thanks
So
for the warning.
whether that entices you or not. I just
Cooking,
want
I'm waiting.
okay, perfect. Yes. So right, 8 to 10 on
Yes.
Saturday. And you had mentioned some of the volunteer needs, and I feel like I've heard Julie say a few times medical drivers.
Yes.
And I'll have to get with her on that because that hasn't been my take. I feel like we've onboarded a few more people.
Okay.
We haven't really had to say no to anybody.
Okay.
We are trying to fill some reception desk roles. So I just wanted to, I'll
Can
get
you
with
just
her on that. But
enumerate on that a bit, because we have some great people working the desk in front, and they're tremendous volunteers. They become like family here, when they work here. So you've got a couple of openings for reception?
we've definitely had Friday afternoons. I don't know if you know Joanne Lepore.
Yeah.
89, been here for quite a number of years. She's amazing. She went down to one day. But it has been struggling to also keep up with her one day. So we have had someone that we brought in and they're trying to feel it out, but I don't think that person would also do 2 days. And so we don't have that kind of sub, even, a more consistent sub. So we are trying to get a few people to learn that a little bit better.
Great. Thank you for bringing that to your attention. Lauren, anything? Sheila?
So this is something that might be of interest to grandparents, and I'll get the word out to Julie about it, because they are stakeholders in this. Behavioral Health Innovators, which has programs for teens that are at risk of substance use and mental health issues, is having a sort of a community meeting at the Weequassett Inn on March 20th, which is a Thursday. And we're inviting anybody that might be interested in attending. A lot of grandparents are raising their
Yes,
grandchildren.
they are.
So I'll get information to Julie about that.
Great, thank you. And if Julie's gonna be out, if anything this week, you
Yeah.
can reach out to Lauren or Jen
Okay.
in particular.
Great.
Okay.
Nothing.
Thank you.
Nothing for me.
Angie?
Nothing but thank you to everybody.
Yeah. Great meeting, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hearing nothing else, I would offer a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed and clean up? Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for letting me sneak in. Hey, Angie.